On tonight's Wales at 6, Lee was killed by a single stab wound in 2024. Now his mother wants change.
He can come out after 24 years. My son will never come back. We've got the life sentence.
Plus, the first cold snap of the winter with a yellow warning in place. I'll have all the latest.
Also on the programme, I think Ines stocking this year. Hello, good evening. A heartbroken mother has described the devastating impact of knife crime on her family after her son was stabbed to death. A drug dealer plunged a large Rambo-style knife into Lee Crew's chest in Newport last year. His mum, Joanne, says her life is now in tatters. It comes as police forces across Wales take part in Operation Sceptre. That's a national amnesty to reduce knife-related crime. Well, Isa Farfor has tonight's top story.
And he just ran with the knife and just left my son to die.
This was the moment Lee Crew was stabbed in the chest last year. One moment, one knife, and he was gone. A single cut from a large Rambo-style knife.
I miss him every day.
It's been almost a year and the pain of losing her son hasn't faded. And today, Jo is choosing to speak out, hoping no other family feels the same pain.
Lee was larger-than-life type of character, you know, full of energy, but he was a gentle giant, help anybody out.
The man responsible fled the scene, 21-year-old drug dealer David Sisman. He ditched the knife, changed his clothes and even travelled to Bristol. A jury didn't believe his claim of self-defence. Now he's serving life behind bars.
Hold there, sir. Mate, you are under arrest on suspicion of murder of Lee Crew on Tuesday the 14th.
I don't know. I don't think any mother gets over the loss of her only child. I'm very passionate now about knife crime, and the more people that understand what it does to people's lives. It's ruined so many lives by that one split-second thing that happened. That boy has taken away my son. He can come out after 24 years. My son will never come back. We've got the life sentence. Lee's lost his life.
Knife crime hasn't just increased in public consciousness. Figures show a real increase as well. In 2013, there were 598 incidents of knife crime in Wales. That figure has now more than doubled to 1,570 incidents in the year ending March 2025. That's an increase of 262%. It was here?
Yes, he was stabbed just a little way down there.
Jo's words come during a national week of action on knife crime. Across the UK, police forces are opening amnesty bins, urging people to hand in weapons with no questions asked. These are some of the knives handed in last year, and the hope this year more dangerous blades like these will be dropped off and taken off our streets for good.
I've seen too many other families go through what I'm going through now, and we're all campaigning for the same thing, to do something more to stop knife crime.
For Jo, awareness isn't a campaign, it's a promise to make sure her son's story means something and spares others the heartbreak she lives with every day.
Well, let's cross to Isa now for more details on that knife amnesty. Isa, I suppose it's hoped this will get more of those knives off our streets.
Good evening, John. Yes, absolutely, that's right. I'm here at Gwent Police Headquarters, one of the forces taking part in this week's National Knife Amnesty. As you saw there in my report, they have opened a number of amnesty bins, places where people can hand in weapons and knives safely with no questions asked, to try and take them off our streets. I'm pleased to be joined by Chief Superintendent Carl Williams. Welcome to Wales at 6. I guess the first question, do these amnesties make a difference?
Yeah, they absolutely do. We work in partnership today, for example, with British Transport Police, but with local authorities, with retailers, with charities such as Fearless to prevent knives on our streets. We have knife sweeps, we have warrants and lots of different activity going on ultimately to remove those knives from our street. And we have 5 amnesty bins, as you alluded to, across our estate in stations.
But surely there is a lot more to be done in this area. People are worried. Knife crime has increased or risen dramatically from 10 years ago.
We've actually seen a slight decrease in Gwent over the last year, but this is all about problem solving. This isn't something that the police alone can solve. It is something that's needed in partnership. So education really for young people. And I would urge parents, teachers, everybody involved in a young person's bringing up to teach children that actually having a knife is not the answer, and there's devastating consequences if they do.
And some of the weapons you've got handed in were particularly scary. Were you worried, and what is your message to people listening to you tonight?
Yeah, we've seen all sorts of knives. So recently the government has outlawed the large swords, the ninja swords, and last year outlawed machetes and knives such as those on our streets. That all helps, but our message to retailers, our message to young people, to parents, to everybody really is to not carry a knife on our street, because there are absolutely devastating consequences if they do that. We will take the strongest action against anybody who does carry a knife in Gwent.
Thank you very much for being with us. Well, John, the message is really clear here. Carrying a knife doesn't keep you safe, but it destroys lives. And of course, those amnesty bins will remain in place beyond this week for anyone who wants to hand in a weapon safely.
OK, Isa Farfo in Cwmbran, thanks very much indeed. Households in Monmouthshire could receive grants of £500 and £1,000 if they were hit by last week's flooding caused by Storm Claudia. Parts of the county were battered by heavy rain last Friday. The Welsh Government says the financial support will be issued through Monmouthshire County Council, and those affected should contact the council for more information. A man has denied burglary after Bronze Age gold jewellery was stolen from a Cardiff museum. Gavin Burnett pleaded not guilty to the theft of items stolen from a display case at St Fagans National Museum of History last month. Darren Burnett also appeared at the hearing but wasn't asked to enter a plea. A 45-year-old woman who was also arrested has now been released on police bail. Elsewhere, Welsh rugby's off-field row has taken yet another twist this evening. As part of their plans for the game here, the Welsh Rugby Union insists it must take control of all rugby matters at the regions. But after walking out of a meeting with the union last week, the Dragons now say there is no prospect of them signing a deal that surrenders that level of control. Next tonight, as next week's UK government budget announcement fast approaches, Senedd members have called for the introduction of a wealth tax. Well, they've been criticised for doing so, however, because the Welsh Parliament doesn't have the power to do that. Well, our political editor, Adrian Masters, is in the Senedd for us this evening. Adrian, good to see you. What's going on then?
John, Senedd members have been thrashing out a debate that is high on the agenda, as you say, with the UK government budget just a matter of days away. As you also said, it's not the responsibility or within the power of Senedd members to introduce a wealth tax. If that were to happen, it would be the Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, based in London, and would introduce one across the UK. But a number of Senedd members, primarily Labour, Plaid Cymru and Liberal Democrats, have expressed this afternoon that they believe that some form of wealth tax is a good idea in the way forward. The Conservatives have been adamantly opposed. And I suppose that adds to a sense of momentum behind the idea. They've just finished debating, literally about 2 minutes ago. Here's a flavour of that debate.
Surely the only purpose of us being here is to make a better life for our people in Wales, and the only way that we can do that is to ensure that we're able to finance all the services that we need.
If the goal is to raise revenue and address inequality, we should focus on fixing the issues in our existing tax systems, such as closing loopholes, not implementing a deeply flawed, internationally rejected policy.
The economy is not working for everyone. We need solutions. Carrying on as we are is not going to bring those solutions.
And Adrian, the same Senedd members are also debating whether or not to suspend one of their own colleagues, aren't they?
In about an hour's time, they'll debate and vote a recommendation to suspend Laura Ann Jones. She's now a Reform UK member of the Senedd, but up until fairly recently, up until the summer, in fact, she was a Conservative Senedd member, and it's allegations during her time as a Conservative that Senedd members are considering. She was found by the Standards Committee to have breached the Code of Conduct for Senedd members by using a racial slur in a private WhatsApp chat, and her handling of other comments in another WhatsApp chat by staff. But she was cleared of a third allegation to do with expenses. The Standards Committee found there was no breach of the Code of Conduct. She's apologised for the first two, but she says she's pleased that she was cleared on the third. However, it's likely that the recommendation that she's suspended for 2 weeks will be rubber stamped when they vote in about an hour ago. She'll find out whether she won't be able to sit as a Senedd member for a fortnight.
OK, Adrian Masters, thanks very much indeed. Parts of Wales remain in the grip of the first cold snap of the winter. Gritters are out across the country and a yellow warning for snow remains in place tonight over West Wales. But it's freezing everywhere, including Wrexham, where Joanne Gallagher is live tonight. Joanne, so no snow where you are, but still plenty of disruption for some today.
Absolutely, John. It's certainly very cold this evening. You can feel the temperature has really dropped. Many of us woke up to a little bit of snow this morning, including here in Wrexham. Now, it has now gone, but those freezing temperatures are set to stay. There was quite a lot of disruption throughout Wales today. Gwynedd saw 2 roads closed because of the weather. And here in Wrexham, the gritters have been out in force since 4 o'clock this afternoon. It's been similar across Wales. Here in Wrexham, they've got 8,000 tonnes stocked, so they're OK. They know what they're doing. And someone who's braved the weather to talk to us about it is Councillor Dave Bithell, Deputy Leader here at Wrexham. Dave, the men and women here have been out already since 4. There's a lot to do, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to be fair, obviously you can see in the background the excellent work that's going on, and these are the staff who really pull out all the stops in the adverse weather. So the last 24 hours they've been out on 2-3 shouts. They've been out since 4 o'clock this afternoon, and they're due out again at 1 a.m. We are expecting some snow flurries tonight on the higher ground, but generally it's cold.
And there's 12 routes that you cover here in Wrexham. There's a lot of planning that goes into it, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, the planning process starts in the summer, where they prepare the vehicles and, you know, prepare it ready for the winter period, and absolutely there's lots of planning goes on.
And they're doing this to make sure that the school routes are safe tomorrow, that we can all get to work. But you also need to think about the safety of the staff here too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, all the staff are trained to really high quality staff, to be fair, and they train to really high standards to drive the vehicles. And we grit every school in the county borough. We go from Glencairn all the way to the boundary of Cheshire at Rossett as well.
It's important work. It takes a lot of time, doesn't it?
It absolutely, yeah.
Well, it certainly is very cold here this evening. The conditions expected to continue and get worse into tomorrow morning. The most affected areas actually are not where I am in Wrexham. It's going to be southwest Wales, so those weather warnings for Carmarthenshire, Ceredigion and Pembrokeshire. But if you're out and about tomorrow, just take your time. Maybe go out a little bit earlier than you normally would. It might be treacherous underfoot. Check the trains, check the buses, and remember to look after those vulnerable people. I've had a tip from the gritters here today. I asked them how they keep warm. They said stay in the cab. Not an option for many of us.
OK, Joanne Gallagher in Wrexham, thanks very much indeed. And Ruth, you'll have more on how the weather is shaping up for the rest of the week shortly.
I will indeed, yes, John. The big freeze, as Joanne just said, continues. But if this early taste of winter is not for you, then the thaw should set in just in time for the coming weekend.
Also on the programme, wintry weather is a reminder, of course, that Christmas is just around the corner. Find out why it's come early to Caerphilly. Well, time for the day's sport now, and Hamish has all the reaction to last night's whopping win for Wales.
Empowering local sport in the community. Octopus Energy sponsors ITV Cymru Wales Sports Report.
Yes, good evening, Noswaith. Our Wales men's qualifying campaign for the World Cup has seen moments of excitement and promise, and yet, with the chance of automatic progress all but gone, the prize for Wales last night in their final fixture this year was a more favourable route through the playoffs. Only a win against North Macedonia would do, and Cymru, well, they delivered.
To go 2-1, I honestly thought it was still going to be a few goals.
The goals rained in as well, scored 7 goals in the same game for the first time since 1978. Beyond confidence and momentum, that result secured a runners-up spot in Group J, which put Wales in 2 huge games for that to happen. So maybe don't book your travel across the Atlantic quite yet. It's later, where their opponents could include teams like Denmark or Turkey. At that point, Cymru would be just 90 minutes away from booking their place in the expanded 48-team tournament hosted in America, Canada and Mexico. So last night was vital, but the players will be watching the draw tomorrow. Well, they will find out that draw takes place at midday, and we'll bring you all the details, of course, in Wales at 6 tomorrow evening.
Oh, thanks to Hamish. Now, the challenges facing high streets they're also celebrating the fact that nearly every business in Tregaron is one run by women. Lewis Rhys-Jones has been meeting some of them.
Sharing ideas and having a good catch-up over a little snack and a warm cuppa. The ladies around this table are celebrating their trailblazing town, with most businesses in Tregaron now run by women.
I taught for 25 years and we've made up loads of ground from when I started, because the girls then would definitely not have thought of starting. Now they do think that they can do it. And I think seeing a small town like this thriving with women business owners is a great step, and obviously inspiring for them, just like it was for me.
And new traders setting up shop are equally proud to be playing their part on the high street.
Historically, men have been the ones driving business, so it's been really nice and refreshing to see here in Tregaron such a dynamic group of women who are taking the high street forward, really, and I think it can only go from strength to strength.
Rhiannon's been making jewellery in her shop for 55 years, and while times may have changed, she says her hometown was always ahead of the game.
Tregaron's had a tradition of women in business from years and years ago, because all the men worked away. It was a drovers' town. They were away, or they were working in agriculture in some way or other. So businesses were run by the women. And there's a tradition in Tregaron that only a woman could keep order in a pub. And there were 17 pubs within living memory in Tregaron. So, just that kind of town. But that has changed very much in the last 50 years. It's got much quieter and much better behaved than it used to be.
The Gender Index notes that female-led business went up by around 30% in Wales from 2023 to 24.
Hello, DJ Tyres.
With businesses like this tyre garage helping to bolster those numbers, the hope is to now inspire the next generation.
Do your research, get a good support system around you, and just try your best. That's all you can do. I've been incredibly lucky. One of the older members here has taken me under his wing. The mechanics, they've all been fantastic. So make your own decisions, but get advice and take help where you can.
It's been the chance for a celebratory get-together, but after this tea break, it's back to business. Lewis Rhys-Jones, ITV News, Tregaron.
Girl power. You're watching Wales at 6, a reminder of tonight's top story. A mother has shared her heartbreak of losing her son to a knife attack. Lee Crew was stabbed to death by a drug dealer in the Maindy area of Newport last year. Lee's mother, Joanne, says his death has left her life in tatters. It comes as police forces across Wales take part in a national amnesty to reduce knife-related crime. And still ahead on the ITV Evening News.
Coming up, the Defence Secretary warns Russia, we know what you're doing and we're ready. It's after a Russian spy ship is spotted on the edge of UK waters for the second time in a year. A call in the Commons as the Environment Agency begins to clear up this mountain of waste dumped close to a river in Oxfordshire. New weather warnings as snow falls across the country, and those stories and more at 6:30.
Now, with this wintry weather, it's almost beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Sorry if it's too early for you, but this next story is all about the season of goodwill. That's because some lottery winners have teamed up with the charity to share the gift of giving. Caddy Gwyn Edwards has the story.
A child's joy on Christmas morning. It's a sound parents long to hear after months of planning. And it may be mid-November, but Christmas has come early in Caerphilly. National lottery winners have teamed up with the charity The Toy Box Project to ensure children don't wake up empty-handed on Christmas morning.
This project is absolutely amazing. This charity does fantastic work, not just for the local community, but far and wide. So Toy Box makes sure that no toy goes into landfill. So recycling to make sure that no child goes without a toy. And I think especially around Christmas that is really important, because it would be devastating for any child to wake up Christmas morning to have nothing.
For children, Christmas can be wondrous and magical, but for many families with rising bills and costs, it can also be one of the most stressful times of the year.
We get lots of pre-loved donations in through the door, and we have people come in and they can book in and take whatever toys they need. So it makes Christmas, it makes the year, and so many families have lots of different stories and reasons why they might need some more help. Frankly, we could all do with a bit more help at this point in time, so really it's just trying to get a smile on their faces and their children's faces.
And for single mum Sam and her daughter Kiara, today has certainly brought smiles to their faces.
It's not cheap. Kiara, her birthday was in May and she was into Toy Story. We're nearly in December and she's already swapped over to Spider-Man. It's a lot of money to spend in the shops. Children don't see the cost of things. But it's lovely that we can go somewhere like the Toy Box, and get second-hand items, good quality. And, we're recycling as well as the children enjoy those toys. When we just walked in there, her eyes lit up. All the toys in there, we'd never been. And she just lit up with the amount of toys available, for free to help families.
And as Santa's helpers finish packing for the day, the hope is that these gifts will bring a little magic and a lot of relief to families this Christmas. Caddy Gwyn Edwards, ITV News in Caerphilly.
What a lovely idea. Well, back to that wintry weather now. Ruth is with me. Well, winter has well and truly arrived.
Well, 'tis the season, as they say, except the season isn't really due to start for another couple of weeks. Meteorological winter begins on the 1st of December, so the season is certainly very keen, isn't it? Not altogether unheard of to have snow at this time of the year, but it's not very nice nevertheless. And actually, as we've been hearing through the programme, much of Wales covered by weather warnings. Now, the weather warning that covered the whole of Wales for ice today has now expired, but we could see some issued at short notice over the next few hours because it's not particularly pleasant out there. But all eyes are across the southwest of Wales, where we do, as we've been hearing, have a number of weather warnings for snow and ice. Now, we're talking about the possibility of a couple of centimetres at lower levels, but over the Preseli Mountains, for example, we could see up to 10 centimetres of snow falling and settling over the next day or so. And as we know, it doesn't take an awful lot to cause disruption. If all of this wintry weather is not for you, a little glimmer of hope that it will become milder but more unsettled in time for the coming weekend.
Today sees sunshine, sand and a spell of bamboo rafting. TUI sponsors ITV Cymru Wales weather.
Well, the chill continues as we've been seeing a few wintry flurries across the north, but really the focus overnight tonight turns to the southwest, where we will see further snow falling and settling. 2 to 5 centimetres at lower levels, but over the Preselis we could see up to 10 centimetres by tomorrow, which is quite significant and, as we know, doesn't take much to cause disruption. For the rest of Wales, it will be a largely dry night and under clear skies. The temperatures will drop dramatically, -2, -3 possible in more sheltered spots. The wind's starting to ease back, but it's still going to be a chilly night. And that means, by turn, a chilly start to tomorrow morning. Bitterly cold, in fact. The map taking quite a while for the blue to ease, but it will shift. And for much of Wales, a bright and beautiful day. But again, across the southwest, our friend the Pembrokeshire Dangler, the technical term for this convergence, this band of rain that's effectively sandwiched out in the Irish Sea. The wind's stopping it really from moving anywhere else. And that's why the southwest is really in the firing line for this rain falling as snow. Temperatures tomorrow, much like today, feeling bitterly cold, and if you catch that wind again, feeling even colder still. Highs of 6 or 7, but I think if you factor in the wind chill, it's going to feel like freezing, which for this time of the year is very, very cold indeed. And speaking of very cold, as we head through Thursday night and into the early hours of Friday morning under those clear skies, we could see lows of -5, -6 in more sheltered rural spots, making it possibly the coldest night of the year so far. But it does mean that for Friday, things are looking pretty decent. Lots of blue sky, lots of sunshine. But as I said, feeling bitterly cold throughout.
TUI sponsors ITV Cymru Wales weather.
So I'm not sure if it's good or bad news, but the temperatures will drop to their lowest tomorrow night, and then after that it will turn slightly less cold. Not tropical, but just a little bit less cold, John.
Crank up the heating,
Absolutely.
I say. That's it. Kate Lewis will be back with the late update after the news at 10. But from Ruth and me and all the team, thanks for watching.